Good day and welcome to the UFC Fight Night Boston conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I'd like to turn the conference over to Mr. Dave Schaller. Please go ahead, sir.
Thanks, Angela. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UFC Fight Night Dillashaw versus Cruz media conference call. The event takes place Sunday, January 17th at TD Garden in Boston, live on Fox Sports 1, 10 p.m. in the East, 7 p.m. in the West. And don't forget, our early prelims will be shown live on UFC Fight Pass at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, headlined by Paul Felder versus Darren Cruikshank. Today on the call, we have our champion, TJ Dillashaw, former champion Dominick Cruz, former champion Anthony Pettis, and top challenger Eddie Alvarez. And with that, we'll go ahead and take the first question.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone keypad. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, please press star one at this time, and we'll pause for just a moment to assemble the queue.
Go ahead to Mark Raimundi from MMAfighting.com.
And Mark, your line is open.
Oh, hello? Can you guys hear me?
Can hear you, Mark.
Sorry about that. How's it going, guys?
Going good.
Good. First question is for Anthony. Just wanted to see how's everything going, man. I know that it's been about a year since you fought. Are you feeling healthy? How are you feeling coming into this fight?
Yeah, I'm back healthy, man. 2015 definitely wasn't my year. Started off with the loss against RDA, had an injury, and I've been here before, so now I'm just back healthy, training, and looking forward to 2016.
I think a lot of people would have said that this fight against Eddie could possibly be another one contender, title in their type of fight. Seems like now that Conor McGregor is going to get that fight against Dos Anjos. How did you feel about that? Are you upset that maybe they didn't wait until maybe this fight happened to see what the result was going to be?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't even looked forward to the next fight. My goal right now is to beat Eddie Alvarez. I got a tough opponent in front of me. Whatever happens after that is based on what I do in this fight. So, I'm focused 100% on my fight coming up next weekend.
Got it. Thanks, man. I guess kind of the same question for Eddie. I think most people would probably say that you against Anthony was possibly a number one contender, title limit type of fight. Seems like McGregor's going to get that shot against those. This is going to move up. How do you feel about that? Does that kind of, are you bummed that they didn't wait until this fight was over to decide that?
I'm sorry, is that for me, Eddie?
Yeah, for Eddie. Yeah.
Right now it seems like Conor's able to make his own. He's able to make his own decisions, and there's nothing. Nobody on this conference call is going to be able to do about that. So I can either, cry and whine about it, or just deal with what's in front of me right now. I do think it's convenient that there's one guy left, the elephant in the room. That's Frankie Eggert, and he decides that he wants to do something different besides stay in that weight class and fight the next guy who's entitled to the shot. But good for him.
One more thing for you, Eddie. It seems like it's a bit of a growing trend that guys in the UFC are fighting out their contracts, they're becoming free agents. You had kind of an up and down experience with free agency when with Bellator. Overall, what was your experience like? I know there were some tough things, but overall, what was your experience like? And would you recommend it to people to kind of see what their value is on the open market?
I don't know if I could say that without getting in trouble by the bosses, but personally, my goal was never to. My end-all, be-all was never, I want to be a UFC fighter. I always wanted to build value for myself for Eddie Alvarez. It wasn't about the promotion so much as just building myself as a commodity. And then when I was able to do that, at least I can bring value to the UFC or bring value to other promotions. I just recommend the guys who are up and coming to build value to themselves, not just not just go to the UFC or go to these other promotions on their hands and knees asking them to give them a couple dollars. They need to build value that they need to bring to the promotion first. and then think about it that way rather than just ask for a job.
And do you think that ended up going well for you in the end? I know there were some issues, but do you think it ended up going well?
It ended up going really well. A lot of these lightweights are probably get angry about how I made out.
Well, keep that between me and you then. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Next question, I just wanted to ask TJ. I guess a lot of people have been saying, after seeing some of the interviews with you and Dom, that he's kind of winning the war of words in this fight so far. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's true? Or do you think it could be a possible effect on the actual fight?
Oh, man, he doesn't mind talking shit. I'm just not one of those guys. I feel like he's learned a little bit more respect. I've always been a respectful opponent, and he can't take the fact that I believe in myself and that I'm a better fighter.
What is your mindset going into this, TJ? Because you have stuff going on with Dom, and there's some trash stuff coming your way there, and then you have there's some awkward stuff with you and Faber. Faber's been saying some things. Are you distracted at all by some of these things that are happening?
No, not at all, man. You gotta learn to deal with this kind of stuff. It's gonna be something he has to deal with the rest of my career. I think Faber's just pushing for a title fight. I know everything's cool. I'm good with all my teammates. I just came out, followed my coach out to Colorado, guy I've been working with for half my career, and I'm in a great place, man. I've been pushing hard and feeling great. So all you can worry about is yourself.
There are people saying that Cruz may be in your head. Is he in your head? Can you clarify that for us?
No, not at all, man. You got to laugh it off. You know what I mean? Like you can let him talk crap and look like an idiot, but it all comes down to the night of the fight. How
is your first camp, your first full camp at Elevation going?
It's going good, man. Real good. Dealing with the altitude's been awesome, and just realizing how great a shape I'm going to be in, and going home back to California for Christmas and stuff, and realizing the big difference it's going to make for me is awesome. And then as well, I've never had this many coaches' eyes on me before. I've always had Dwayne coaching me, and now I have 4 other coaches that are watching every practice. And I got Lisa Boyne for wrestling, Elliot Marshall for jiu-jitsu, Christian Allen, another striking coach, and Lauren Lindau to get me in shape. And like I said, I've never had this much attention, and it's nice to be treated the way I am out here.
Thanks, TJ. And just last one for Dom, because I know I've taken up more of your guys' time than you probably already wanted. You had all these kind of like one-on-one interview type of things with TJ. Do you think that's an advantage for you? Because it seems like most people are saying that you're kind of getting the better of these exchanges. Do you think that's an advantage for you going into the fight?
Talking is just talking, man. The fight is fighting. That's totally different. TJ's the type of guy that would rather fight than talk, and I think that that's because he's not that smart. But that doesn't mean that he's not ready to fight on that day, I don't look at it like it's any kind of advantage other than we're just in front of the cameras. I didn't want to do any of these interviews more than him probably, but I'm there and I got to do them, so I'm going to do them to the best of my ability. And the truth is, people want to hear what we have to say as athletes, and they don't want to just see what we do as fighters. That's usually not enough to interest people. It doesn't sell a lot of tickets. They want to hear what you believe in yourself leading into the fight, on top of going in there and throwing down and putting on a good performance. So I'm just doing all angles of things. TJ still hasn't figured that out yet, but maybe he'll figure it out eventually and sell some tickets.
Is that something that you figured out? Because it's not something that you've always done, over the years.
It's not something that I figured out. I've always been this way. The difference is I don't have as much emotion going into it because I have, I feel at peace with myself. I have nothing to lose, I'm the underdog coming into this fight. I've been out for the past 4 years with multiple injuries. So I'm already counted out to an extent, and that's fine with me. But it's like it gives me just peace. I have nothing to lose in this situation. I'm coming in and getting a great shot. Fighting is just a cherry on top of a good life that I already live, and now I can just go in there and enjoy myself and enjoy talking to somebody who literally shuts down when you try to say anything and just doesn't want to say anything. It's weird, but whatever, you just talk and be myself and let him be quiet and punch him at the end. It'll work out just fine.
Cool. Thanks, Thanks, you guys. Good luck next week.
And we will now go to David Melandra with Philly Sports Live.
All right, this question is for Eddie Alvarez. Eddie, first off, how has your training been for this fight? And second off, how does it feel to be back in the title contention in the lightweight division?
Training's been great, man. I'm back with my home team. The guys I sort of started this journey with, Ricardo Almeida, Frank Yeager, and everybody that I was with when I was back in the Dream Tournament in 2008. So just good to see old faces. Good to be back with guys that, I sleep in my own bed and see my kids every day. I tried my best to do the Florida thing. It didn't work out for me and my wife. So we're back here in Philadelphia, and I get to enjoy each day by day, rather than just wait to get to a fight. And it's been a blessing.
And secondly, how does it feel to be back in contention in the lightweight division?
In my eyes, I'm always in contention. You're always one big knockout, one big fight away from being the next big thing in this sport. So for me, this has never been a sprint, never. So I'm not trying to get something that I don't deserve right away. It's never been a sprint. It's always been a marathon, and I'm willing to take any guy in this division as they come. I want the best guys. So here comes January 17th.
What's your message to the city of Philadelphia for fans to tune into this fight?
They know my fight style. They know what I bring to the table every time I step in that cage. I just want to say thank you, because I've been blessed to come back home, and I didn't realize how much support and how big of a following I have here at home until I came back to my house. And just being around the city, driving around the city, something as small as going to the grocery market, and just seeing all the people who tune into the sport and show me their love. I just appreciate everything they've done for me.
All right, Eddie, good luck next week.
Thank you, man.
We will now go to Mark Billingsley with the Sacramento Bee.
Gentlemen, good afternoon, and I've been enjoying the interview so far. First question is to TJ. You mentioned you got a chance to come back to Sacramento for the holidays. Did you drop by Ultimate Fitness? Did you say hello to your former mates?
No, I never went back to Ultimate Fitness. I was just home. We're back actually at the Angels camp to my hometown and visited family. It was just a quick trip home for Christmas. No, I actually got a lot of my teammates coming out here to train with me. Joseph Benavides is actually with me right now. Lance Palmer's been coming out. So I'm still training with a lot of the guys. It's just not at Ultimate Fitness. Your eyes the one that put a stop to that.
So they're coming out to Colorado with you and Dwayne?
Yeah, they've been coming to Colorado to train with Dwayne and to get some training in with me, and they'll come out and check it out and realize how good the training is.
Did you sell your house in the 50s? I mean, you're completely cut your ties to Sacramento? No, I still got my house there, man. That wasn't my plan.
Okay.
My
plan was to do what I did my last camp and to do most of my camp out in Colorado and, be back in Sac here and there and be able to cross-train. I feel like I built great relationships with guys out there and some teammates and have done my part to be a good team player. And, my plan was to go back and forth, but, that's not the case anymore. I'm going to have to be full-time out here. But, I got family and California is home too. So, I'll always be back and forth.
Yeah. What have you been working on? Is it just kind of shoring up everything and getting prepared for Dom, or are you working on something, adding a new component to your attack or your defense?
I mean, you're always kind of adding every camp. You add for a certain opponent, you add just in general and on the off season, and then just continue to sharpen the tools you already have. I've added a lot because I got a lot of new coaches. I got 4 new coaches' eyes on me. I've gotten a lot more new wrestling techniques and some grappling stuff. Obviously continue to work with Dwayne and continue our success. And it's gonna be awesome to show my improvements in all aspects.
And looking at the fights that Dom's had recently against some of your former alpha male teammates, but then also knowing the injuries he's had, have you had a chance to kind of game plan yet? I mean, obviously you're not going to reveal what that game plan is, but have you had a chance to kind of size him up and see maybe he's not going to be able to turn a better certain way or something like that? We talk about the strategy going in with Dom's recent injuries and how that affects that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't fought too recently. He's fought one time in the last 4 years, so obviously you only have so much to go off of. But yeah, he definitely got game plans going into these fights. you see things he's got habits of doing, things he doesn't do, and you continue to work for those. We definitely have situations planned out in my head that I see coming true the night of the fight.
And thanks, DJ. And Dominic, this one's for you. You kind of enjoyed on Twitter kind of putting the knife between the alpha male Faber, more specifically, and TJ when the breakup, for lack of a better term, happened a couple of months ago, and you kind of stoked those flames. I was kind of wondering if you were a little upset that he left, because if you would have beat him as a member of alpha male, that would have been kind of completed your set, if you will.
Well, what's the question exactly?
Well, the question is, are you kind of mad that he is no longer part of alpha male? Because you've already beat Benny, you've already beat Faber. It would have been nice if he was still part of alpha male, or does that even matter to you?
No, I mean, you can dress up the turf, but it still stinks when you have TJ Dillashaw. He's still an alpha male guy. He's still got those guys training with him. So he's still one of them. He's still a jock. He's still meathead. Still not that bright, and he still uses a lot of the fundamentals that those guys use. That's what built him up into the sport, so he's going to have a lot of those things. Now he's got new techniques with Ludwig. Ludwig's helped him move along and fix some techniques with his kickboxing and stuff, but it's still alpha male guy, I mean, in my eyes. But just because he's not with them, that's just Faber cutting him off to try to make money. Faber's always trying to get the big money fight, so he's trying to cut it off and make a beef. But, Faber came up to me recently when I was out there in trying to commentate on the Cowboy RDA fight, and he was talking to me about TJ and, just that they're not that close, and that TJ hasn't been beating him up for the past 4 years the way TJ's been saying, and that all that's fake and none of that's true, and that they're not cool and they're not friends. And so I don't know, it's just weird because those guys all have a weird dynamic. You never know which side they're playing because they're always trying to make money and build the fights up for the future. So they could be best friends behind the scenes and just pretending to beef right now, or they could be really beefing. But I know Faber's pretty much the type of guy that, he wants you to do good, but he never wants you to do better than him. And right now TJ's doing a little bit better than him, so I'm sure there's a real jealousy in Faber's eyes right now, and that's why all this stuff's going down the way it is. Because TJ came up through the alpha male team and had that especially early training with Dwayne a couple years ago. I mean, is that kind of an advantage for you since you have fought some of the alpha male guys, that you see almost a blueprint, if you will? Tom?
Mark, it looks like we temporarily lost Dominic. We'll try to get him back on the line.
Well, maybe I can spin that same question to TJ, that maybe because Dominic has so much experience with alpha male guys and beating them, that he has to kind of worry about coming out of a certain style and maybe changing it for his style to fit what Dominic's going to bring.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely helped me prepare. Helping those guys prepare for their fights and know what I would have done in those situations. I'm a completely different fighter than the guys that fought Dominic. As in Joseph and Uriah. Even though we're teammates, we all have different physical attributes and we all fight differently. There's definitely no blueprint on our team. We do learn from each other, but we all got different attributes that are greater than others. And you definitely take everything from everyone's fight. And Joseph had a very close split decision fight that. Joseph picked him up on the feet and was just getting taken down here and there. And same with Demetrius, doing the same thing to him. Demetrius got the better of him on the feet, and the only reason why Dom beat him is because he outsized him and took him down. And just taking those things and viewing every one of his fights, and same as watching my teammates fight him as well as other people. You learn from every fight.
I got to give you the chance to respond to what Dominic said about you and Faber. I mean, it seems to me that proves that you're a pretty smart guy if you are having this behind-the-scenes happening where you and Faber have agreed to have this alleged beef so that you can sell tickets. That means that's pretty brilliant.
It's funny that Dominic likes to say that I don't talk crap because I'm not very smart when I'm the one that's got the college degree and went to school. That's just because of the fact that I'm a martial artist and I like showing respect. I'm not one of those guys that's gonna do the WWE Conor McGregor effect and talk a bunch of crap to make money. I'm in this and I want to look back on my career and know that I made the right choices and that I portrayed myself the way I wanted to be portrayed. And I'm not going to look like a jackass while doing it. With me and Faber, that actually is a surprise to me the way he's been acting as well, because I'm cool with all the guys. And I really think it's just a way for him to push for a title fight, a way for him to really make some money. I think he's the one that's behind all this because I've done nothing but show respect. I don't go on there and talk crap about Uriah when there's plenty to talk about. I'm just gonna continue to be the humble guy and appreciate what he did for me when I got into the sport. And it's just a little ridiculous that I'm getting crap for changing camps when it happens all the time. When guys are trying to better themselves in their career by going to a new team or a new coach, it happens every day in the sport, and all of a sudden it's a big deal. So it's a little ridiculous, and you just got to kind of laugh it off.
And as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, it is *1 to ask a question, and we will now move on to Damon Martin with Fox Sports.
First question is for Anthony Pettis. Anthony, obviously you said 2015 wasn't a great year for you. I know that you haven't lost very often in your career, but what was the biggest takeaway from that fight with Dos Anjos? And I mean, did you have to kind of reinvent yourself a little bit, or did you find just a couple of mistakes you made to get better to come into this fight?
Yeah, it was a mental error, I think, man. I don't know. I can't look at that fight and pick like exactly what happened. There was just so many small mistakes, and preparation wasn't there. I just took it for granted a little bit. So yeah, I think I just got refocused and remotivated, and I got a tough guy in front of me to keep me motivated for training.
Obviously, your focus is Eddie Alvarez, but I am curious, if everything works out well, what is more important to you? Is it getting back to the title, or is it getting that, kind of a little bit of vengeance against Dos Anjos?
I haven't even thought about Dos Anjos or a title at all, any of that right now, man. Once I found out I was fighting Eddie Alvarez, that's my main focus, was this weekend coming up, making the fight, staying healthy, and just being in that positive mind frame where I can go in there and be myself. I feel like if I'm myself out there, nobody in the world could beat me.
What have you thought of Eddie's performances thus far in the UFC, the couple of fights we've seen?
He had tough fights. I mean, he didn't get any easy fights right away. He came in, fight Cowboy Cerrone. We saw Cowboy get a title shot. Gilbert Melendez, another tough guy. So he came and fought at the top of the division right away. So he didn't have any warm-up fights in the UFC, and now they're giving him me. So 3 tough fights in a row. I beat both of them guys. First round, second round. So it's hard to justify styles and fights. But I mean, he had tough fights coming in. So now it's just my turn to go out there and make my statement.
Yeah, and a question for TJ. Everyone talking about the Faber, the alpha male, everything that's kind of been going on for that. But I mean, do you think the fact that your teammates have come out and supported you? I know Joseph's out there right now, Lance Palmer. I mean, do you think that tells the biggest story of the people that have been around you, that they are still supporting you?
Yeah, just kind of tells the truth of what's really going on. You know what I mean? And just kind of how shallow I feel like you're kind of acting due to what's going on. He's the only one that's holding on to this and continue to talk crap about it. And like I said in some of my other interviews, it's kind of crazy that all the attention this whole me moving out to Colorado is getting when, I'm just moving to train with the coach that I feel is giving me a lot. A guy that believes in me and works harder for me than anybody else ever has in my entire life. Of course I'm going to follow that, man. When you build that kind of connection, that's what you're going to do. Most of the greatest fighters you see today all have a super close connection with their coaches.
Yeah. And one quick follow-up to that, with everything that's happened with Dominick, I'm curious, when Dominick got injured originally, Herman Browne came in and everyone believed that, he was maybe the best pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, and he had some phenomenal performances. Obviously, you went out and beat him 2 occasions. I mean, I'm curious, do you feel like Dominick is the biggest challenge you faced, or do you feel like this is I don't know, I'm just curious like where you feel Dominick stacks up in the rank of guys you've already beaten?
Yeah, man, he's definitely a very, very tough challenge. He's a great fighter. You have to believe that going into this fight. You can't underestimate the guy, just because he's been out as well. He was on top for a reason, and he's great. I just feel that I continue to grow past his status. I do believe I am the better fighter from watching from the beginning and watching myself. It just, I believe I have the better skills. And I'm a little bit hungrier, and it's gonna be a great fight, man.
Awesome. Is Dom back on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Dominick, for you, obviously, going through everything you went through to come back to this, what's the hardest part of watching the bantamweight title, get tossed around when it went to Browne and then it went to TJ? I mean, was there any anger in that moment? Did you have to kind of put that away, or did you maybe tuck it away as motivation?
No, it actually didn't affect me at all because I wasn't really in the loop right then. I was hurt. At that point, you just kind of got to be hurt and let your body take the course that it needs to heal. So I had already, set down the gloves for during that portion of time and let it go. Because it would have just drove me crazy to sit there and try to be upset about it or try to control it when it was completely out of my hands. You can't control injuries; they just happen. So it wasn't bothering me. It was just I'm a competitive guy by nature, so obviously I wanted to be in there competing, but couldn't. So I did what I could around it, and I evolved as a person outside of the ring and got better at the things I could as a man outside of the ring, and I didn't lose or waste any of those years,
Yeah. And last question for you, Dom. Obviously a lot changes, in the sport. I mean, the guys who were champions when you were last champion have, I think, pretty much all changed since then. What's been the biggest key in kind of adapting, your style? I mean, we saw you come out and beat Takeya Mizugaki in extremely dominant fashion, but do you feel like you have evolved a lot since we last see you? Like, are we going to see a much different Dominick Cruz this time than maybe even what we saw in the Mizugaki fight?
What it comes down to on fight day is believing in my abilities and believing in, just my fluidity and the things that I do. Naturally, letting my reactions take point because I already put in the work in camp. I already trained hard. TJ's mentioned that he's hungrier than me, but that can't even be gauged, so it's a pretty ignorant fact. There's no point behind it because there's no way to gauge who's hungrier than another person. So it's just really what it comes down to is believing your skill set on that day and the work that you put in prior to the camp and just having the faith that your body can go out there and do the work. And I put in the camp. My body's healthy for me. And I've had, this past 4 years to rehab my body, not take a lot of abuse to it, to get in tune with it, and just go in there and do work. So I'm just going to be excited to show up and have fun on that day because that's what it's about. I've already put in the work and put in the bad days and the good days in camp where I didn't feel good and then did feel good, and all that's out of the way. So on that one night, I'm going to be as good as I can be.
Awesome. Best of luck, guys.
And we will now go to Jim Edwards with The Mirror.
Yeah, hi guys. First question to Anthony. Anthony, you said at the start of the call that 2015 wasn't your year. What do you think you can do by the end of 2016 to turn that around, and how active do you want to be considering you're fighting very early on in the year?
Yeah, the goal is to always be active, man. I can't really state how that's going to work. Last year I was trying to be active as well. I fought in December and March. Didn't work out for me. So, the goal is to stay active and to stay healthy. But, the sport takes a lot on your body. Training camps are just like fights. So for me, it's just trying to stay healthy and just stay prepared, I guess. But, fighting early in the year, so I should be able to get a couple more fights this year and accomplish my goals. 2016, I'm looking forward to getting back to where I was at and, staying where I was at.
Thanks. Next question to Dominick. Dom, you've obviously had your injuries the last 2 years, but what is it that has kept you wanting to come back time after time after time? You've obviously been a UFC champion. You're widely regarded as one of the best there's ever been at the Bantamweight division, but what is it now that is driving you back this time?
I think your question is, what is it now since I've been hurt, I guess?
No, I'm asking, what is driving you back this time? I just want to understand, what is your motivation to keep coming back time after time?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, the thing is, I am competitive and I do love to compete. The thing is, I've been out all this time not because I wanted to be, but because, my injuries didn't let me compete. I got hurt at around 26, and I knew my age would be on my side in the fact of healing as long as I, just let my body heal and get back to where it could. So I've done that, and it's working for me again, and age is still on my side. I'm still in my prime years right now. Well, I'm just as hungry as I ever was to be the best in the world and to make history. And really what it comes down to is challenging yourself. We only get one life to live, and this is a huge challenge. And every single one of us as fighters is doing this to evolve as a person. And I feel like that's what this is about. This is a big challenge. I'm coming from behind the desk past 4 years, and I'm about to go compete with what people are saying is one of the better pound-for-pound guys in the world. So it's going to be pretty crazy when I go out there and put on a great show and even win. The pressure's not on me. I'm getting the chance of a lifetime right here. I've been out, and I get to fight for a title again. So I'm just happy to be able to compete again and compete against some of the best guys in the world right now. My last fight was against a top 5 guy after I was out 3 years, and now I'm going against the number 1 guy in the division. So it's going to be fun to challenge myself. That's what this is all about, is testing myself and passing with flying colors.
Thanks, Dom. And TJ, just to follow up on that with you, obviously Dom was just talking there about how the pressure's on you. Dom's the guy that's been out for the last 2 years. Do you feel this is almost a lose-lose situation for yourself? Even some people might say that even if you beat him, that he's been out 2 years. What have you got to say about that?
You just got to learn to deal with those things, man. I mean, that's the greatest thing about wrestling my entire life is learning how to deal with the pressure. You got to turn all that pressure into having fun and get in front of those millions of people and put a smile on your face and have fun, man. Makes you perform a lot better when you're loose and having fun and not worried about what's going to happen. I mean, I'm lucky enough just to be able to be in the situation I'm in to train every single day and do what I love to do. So, I'm just going to soak it all up and show off and have a great time. I get to fight Dominick Cruz. He's got a good name. He's got a big name. He's going to continue to boost my name up for the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and the plan is to be on top.
Thanks for your time, guys. Have a good time in Boston.
And we will now go to Daniel Flynn with Breitbart Sports.
First question for Dominick. The injuries beat you, but no bantamweight beat you in the UFC at least. Do you view yourself as the man still, as the sort of champion in waiting in the bantamweight division, or do you concede that TJ is now the man in the bantamweight division?
Well, it's not really what you think about yourself. It's, to the extent of with media and all that, because every single person on this conference call right now believes that they are the man, believes that they are the champion. I mean, I guarantee you ask every single one of them, they'll say they're the best in the world. So it's kind of a, biased question to an extent if you're asking me. Of course I believe I'm the best in the world. Of course I believe I'm the man in the division. But when it comes down to it, media puts us in an order, and then it's our job to go out and prove that we're better than the order that you guys put us in. I believe I'm the best in the world, and I believe that the order is incorrect, and I'm number 1, and TJ is just the best at being number 2.
Question for TJ. Many fans considered you a straight wrestler coming out of the Ultimate Fighter show, but you showed, excellent striking and amazing footwork against Browne both times. How would you compare your stand-up with Dominick's? Do you feel confident that you can win a fight if it stays on the feet? And how much did Dwayne Ludwig's help with your striking persuade you to stick with him and make that move to Colorado?
I was strictly a wrestler on Ultimate Fighter. I only had 4 fights at that time and only been out of wrestling for a year, so I was very new to the sport, and I was only a wrestler. My growth has happened really fast, and I owe it to a lot of people, but I do owe most of it to Dwayne Ludwig. He came in and gave me a lot of confidence that things that I was doing were right and helped me build off of it. It didn't change who I was as a fighter, but added a lot to it. And, I feel very confident if the fight stayed on her feet. And, that is the reason why I'm out here in Colorado with Dwayne, is because the belief I have in the guy that's pushed me to be where I'm at.
Question for Eddie and Anthony. The lightweight division is arguably the most talented division in the UFC, but with Conor's arrival in division, it's now becoming a much more marketable division. Do you look upon this? I mean, I'm trying to gauge how you look upon his arrival. Do you view it as, do you welcome it, his arrival, because of the attention he brings to the division, or are you more resentful of him leapfrogging over everyone else for a title shot? And I guess we'll start with Anthony.
I guess I was going to move down to 45 and fight Jose Aldo when I was the number 1 contender. So I guess the champion moving up to be to fight a champion makes sense. As long as they do it for the rest of the divisions. I mean, if any other champ decides to move up, they automatically get a title shot. But at the same time, I feel like the lightweight division always been marketable. I mean, we have some great champions. We have some great guys that came out of this division. And, it's not based on just talk. It's based on performance. And I think, the division has always been a tough division. The 45 division was one that was, dominated by Jose Aldo the whole time. So you get a guy that comes in there and takes out Aldo and he moves up a weight class. Of course, we're going to want to watch it. So, yeah, I welcome it. So hopefully, he stays and we see how good he really is.
Eddie?
Yeah, I just say I think anything or anybody who brings more money to the sport is a good thing. It's hard for me to say anything bad about it. Regardless of whether people think he deserves this or he deserves that, the truth is that when one fighter gets paid more, it's good for all of us, every single one of us. So I'm happy that he brings the marketability to the division, and it's not up to me or anybody or any other fighter to say what he deserves or what he doesn't. Our bosses make that decision, no matter how we perform out there. So happy to see money coming in.
Outstanding. Thank you. Good luck to you all.
And we will take our last question from Raul Azaga with Primera Hora.
Hi, guys. Hello. My question is for... Okay. My question is for Anthony Pettis. I spoke to Eddie Alvarez earlier on, and I told him I hate this fight just because you guys are the two fighters of Puerto Rican descent who are best ranked, and then they're fighting each other. But joke aside, it's a fight that could probably put you guys, whoever comes out a winner, in a spot against the winner of Conor and McGregor. Do you think that's the stakes in this kind of fight?
Yeah, I mean, you never really know, honestly, who's next for you. I mean, it all depends on performance, who's hot, who the fans want to see fight, and injuries. So yeah, I mean, this fight right here there's a lot at stake. I mean, there's a title shot. There's being the number one ranked lightweight in the world, and for me, it's fighting a guy like Eddie Alvarez. Man, I got a chance to fight a guy that's been around for a long time and continue to grow my name and then show how good I really am in this game.
When you were interviewed last October, you said that if you win this fight and you got a title shot, you wanted it to be in Puerto Rico. Is that still stands?
I still want to fight in Puerto Rico. I'm hoping everything's still going the way it's supposed to be going, so Puerto Rican we can fight in Puerto Rico. But again, that's up to the UFC, Dana White. Now these guys decide where the fight takes place. But if we get to fight in Puerto Rico, I mean, this fight would have been a good fight to fight in Puerto Rico. But Boston is the place.
In terms of your training for this fight, you focus a lot on wrestling with E.C. Martinez. Do you think this fight is not going to be a barn burner as many expect and maybe be more of a grinder?
Nah, my wrestling was always there. My last fight wasn't the best display of it, but the reason why I changed to Israel Martinez was because my wrestling coach Ben Askren, he has his own career to worry about. I needed somebody to focus directly on me and my mistakes and my flaws in wrestling and get me better. So that's why I made the switch to Israel Martinez. But I think this fight's going to be a good fight, man. Eddie brings it every time. I'm always in an interesting fight. We're both tough. We both can take a lot of damage. And, we both want this win as bad as the other. So it's a lot at stake in this fight.
Thank you, guys, and best of luck to both.
Thank you.
And that concludes our question and answer session. I will now turn the call back to Chris Costello for closing remarks.
Thanks, Angela. I'd like to go ahead and thank everybody for joining us on the call today. UFC Fight Night Boston Fight Week activities will kick off on Thursday with Ultimate Media Day at the West End Copley Hotel downtown, followed by open workouts on Friday at UFC Gym downtown. Updated schedule of events for the entire week is available on the UFC Press portal. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you next week in Boston.
Sweet. Sounds good.